Okay, let's give this a try. I wanted to make some videos for my grandkids and my great-grandkids and my kids if they don't remember any of this, but they've heard it all. Anyway, I wanted to just explain that when I was growing up, my dad used to take us on road trips all the time and do surprises and do fun things for us, which I'll go through, a lot as I progress through these videos. But one time I asked him why he did all that, and he told me it was because we were making memories. And as I'm old and remembering, I always thought it would be fun to write a book called Making Memories and relay all the great memories my dad created for us, but I don't know how to write a book. So I thought, gosh, I just hate to have him work so hard to bring us so many memories and then just die someday without actually sharing them with my grandkids and my great-grandkids and my family, extended family, and anybody else who's interested and wants to listen to a rambling old lady. So I thought, well, I'll make some videos and I'll post them so anybody who's interested in hearing about the early days, my early days, could listen in and hear and learn. I'm going to say learn, but only learn what my interpretation is, because obviously we remember things the way we remember them, and that doesn't necessarily make them the way they were. But I think our memories are what count. So I was born in 1947 and was one of the baby boomers. We were baby boomers because all the men were at war when World War II, and when they all came home, or when the war was over, their wives all got pregnant. So there was this boom of babies, and that's where that label came from. And previously to that, I don't believe that there were names for generations. We had eras like the gay 90s and the roaring 20s and things like that, but no generation names. And since then, they've tried to name all the generations, but even my kids. But when my kids were growing up, they didn't have a name for that generation. This is something new, something since the internet, I think. That's my personal opinion. At any rate, my dad came home from the war, and when he first came home, we lived in what I think they called a housing project, a place where there were a lot of homes or apartments built for young families. And I don't remember it because I was young. I was under 2 years old, but there are pictures. So I'm hoping to figure out how to get pictures incorporated into my videos. And if I can get one of my grandkids to come and show me how to do that, then I will make these a little more interesting. But at any rate, we lived in this place. Some of the apartments were two-story and shared, and I think that some of them were just little single-family dwellings, and they were all on this plot of land, and there was lawn all in between all the properties, and that's what I remember. There's a picture of me laying on the lawn out in front of these houses. And then when I was about 2 years old, my mom and dad bought a house, and that house, I believe, cost just a little over $8,000, just to give you an idea of how things have changed. A little over $8,000 to buy. It was a new house. I mean, it's little, a little 3-bedroom, 1-bath, square cracker box house with a separate garage on the back of the property. In a neighborhood where other homes were being built. When we first moved in there, not all of the parcels had homes yet, and so there were empty lots. For a while, I can remember playing in empty lots when we grew up. Right down the street, the next block over, was the elementary school, so it was a desirable area for young families to move into because the school was right there. So we had lots of kids in the neighborhood, and we all played together all the time. So when I was little, we didn't have a TV. TVs hadn't come out. And I think, truthfully, when they first came out, my dad kind of rebelled against getting one. And other people may have been getting them, but my dad kind of rebelled against certain things. But we did eventually get a TV, and I can remember getting the TV and being so excited. And there were so few shows on. And even when we got the TV, we really didn't watch TV a lot. We went out and played. I mean, if it was nice weather outside, us kids were all outside playing. And we used to do things like play ball in the street. And when a car would come along, you would just simply move out of the road. And cars, new kids did that, so I guess they went slower. Maybe we were all just a lot slower back then. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, we played a lot in ball games in the streets. We rode our bikes up and down. We played tag. My dad taught us a whole bunch of games that we could play around the house, and taught all the rules of games that he had remembered. When it was not nice outside, we would be in the house, but we still played games. We had board games that we used to sit and play, or card games or whatever. Or we'd color, or we'd read, or we'd fight with each other. What kids will do, but TV wasn't a thing. I think on Sundays, we got to where on Sunday evenings we just sat around as a family and watched. And I think we probably watched the Disney World, whatever it was called. It was a Disney program. And that's what we watched on Sunday night. And my mother would make buttered popcorn and slice up oranges. And we'd eat sliced oranges and buttered popcorn. And there is something about the flavor of those two things, coinciding, that was awesome. But that was the TV I can remember as a young child. So it was a time of innocence is how I think of it. I mean, people were pretty innocent. I mean, it was not. The atmosphere was different back then as far as how people acted towards each other. The community was close. All us kids played together all the time. We all were friends all the time. I can't remember having arguments with my friends in the neighborhood. It was just fun. And then the school being down the street was cool because we could go. They used to have after-school activities back in the day. So teachers literally worked from, I guess, 8 to 5 in the evening, because when school let out at 3 or whenever, they would take turns working the yard, and at least one teacher would be out there moseying around to make sure that the kids all were safe. And they used to have activities like plaster of Paris, which we loved. You could go there, and they provided the plaster of Paris and the molds, and we would mix it and pour it, and then once they set up, you could take them out of the molds and take them home and paint them. And they made great chalk. We used to use them to chalk hopscotch on the sidewalk in front of our house so that we could play hopscotch at home. We did fun things. We used to make mud pies in the gutter. People would say, what are you doing, making mud pies in the gutter? And that was just because back then the gutters had a lot of dirt in them, and when it rained, or when people watered their lawns and water got in the gutter and it made mud, you could go out there and make these little patty things and set them on the concrete, and then the sun would dry them, and we'd call them mud pies. I don't know why. It was something we did. Yeah, okay, so we were kind of weird, I guess, but that was our life as young children. So, there's quite a few anecdotes about, or let's just say, cool memories that I have of my childhood, and I plan to share a few with each video. I'll try not to make the videos too long, so that you're not too bored. And so if you enjoy them, come back, and like I said, hopefully I'll have a few pictures to maybe, of my house and of us as children, and some of the cool things that we did. So I hope you find these interesting, and I will see you on the next one if you decide to come back.